Good evening, and welcome to the 12 tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by blood, who are scattered according to the Bible prophecy into the four corners of the earth, and to the 144,000 who are among them, the Levites scattered into the 12 tribes to teach the people and prepare them for what's soon to come, and to the Gentiles who through faith in the Hebrew Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yahushua, have received the perfect righteousness of the Father. Greetings to all. Blessings upon those that are working in the healthcare field and those who are the first responders, trying every day to save human lives, and those that pick up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help deliver and rescue the victims of child molestation and pedophilia, the victims of pornography and child pornography, as well as prostitution and child prostitution, the victims of human trafficking and sex slavery. And double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts who traffic in this human misery. And finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and most importantly, children who this Babylonian system has crapped out and have no roof over their head. And there's millions in the same position around the earth. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Good evening to those in the chat. Blessings, shalom to all of you. I want to also make some announcements before we get started. We are asking for prayer for a couple of reasons. Number one, my wife and I are pretty much decided to relocate to Florida. And so my father is older. And as you all are, many of you might be aware, he had a health episode recently. And I just came back from Florida for the second time this year after visiting him, and am convinced and convicted that I'd like to be near him in these twilight years, let's put it that way, of his life. And so we'll be helping them transition, or we are helping them transition him and my stepmother to an assisted living facility, and with the arrangements and everything that goes along with that. And so my wife and I are also convicted that we probably should be nearby him instead of being so many hundreds or even 1,000 miles away here in the DC area. So pray for us that that the Most High continue to guide us in that and direct our paths as we are seeking to move to Florida. That's number one. Second thing is, at the time of my father's health episode, I got laid off of my job. I think I mentioned y'all. So I would request that you all pray that whatever job the Most High has for us, that I choose the one that he has prepared for me, and that his will be done in this. That's the second thing. Thirdly, there's one of our brethren who prefers to be nameless that is in serious health conditions among our Israelite brethren. And that person, I'm requesting that we pray for. The Most High knows their name. And so if you would just pray for the Israelite person that's in serious health condition right now, that would be appreciated. Okay. So today, I got news also. Now, this is the beginning of the message for today. Today, I got news, or I saw it in the news. Let me put it that way. I saw in the news a certain man who I had known, who had watched as a young boy play professional basketball. His name was Bob Lanier. And today at age 73, he passed away. Now, the thing about Bob Lanier, aside from the fact that at the time he came into the NBA to play, this was probably in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. He had the biggest feet in the history of professional basketball. They were size 22. In fact, they took one of his sneakers and they dipped it in gold plating and they put it in the Hall of Fame as to show you the biggest feat in pro basketball history. Well, anyway, I remember, yes, he was. I remember he's a Hall of Fame player, and I remember when he was younger. You know, I was little, but he was a young man. You know, coming into the NBA out of St. Bonaventure in upstate New York, and you know, to hear that he passed just helps me to see how quickly time flies by. Now, I've heard some people that want to be fresh, let's put it that way, say, well, time is time. It doesn't go any faster or slower than it is. That's not true. We, as human beings on the earth, are in a capsule of time. All of us on the earth have limited time to be alive on the earth. Okay, as a matter of fact, when did that begin? In Genesis, in the beginning. In Genesis chapter 3, let's take a look at Genesis chapter 3. Now, when Adam was created from the dust of the earth, and the Most High breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, that was an eternal existence that he was brought into. And as long as Adam had access to the tree of life, his eternal existence would be perpetuated. And he would have access to the tree of life as long as he was obedient to the command of the Father to not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And once he did eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, death became part of his existence. And not only his, but all of his children and all of the earth. Let's look at Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. I'm going to read from verse 17 down to verse 19 of Genesis chapter 3, verses 17 to 19. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee. And thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. So once Adam partook of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, once he disobeyed the Father's command, death came upon him. And from that time has been part of our existence. Time does not exist in the sense of the way we know it now, when there's eternity. Because naturally, when there's eternity, you will have an unlimited number. But here we are, in the Bible basically outlines 7,000 years. 7,000 years. And 6,000 of those years are the years before the first resurrection. Then there's a 1,000-year period of the reign of Messiah before, at the end of 7,000 years, there's eternal and final judgment on all of the disobedient and unrepentant. And from that time, there's no more time. It's just eternity. As a matter of fact, let's look at Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. And I'm going to begin in Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. Actually, let me start. I'm going to start at verse 9. And I'm going to read from verse 9, which is a judgment scene, from verse 9 down to verse 14. Daniel chapter 7, from verse 9 to 14. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So you can see, even in these verses, wickedness is given what? A season and a time. But the kingdom of Messiah will never pass away. That is forever. Matter of fact, in this same chapter, I'm going to continue reading from verse 15 down to verse 18. Same Daniel chapter 7. We stopped at 14. Let's go from verse 15 to verse 18. Notice what it says. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit and in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me to know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So, brethren, as followers of the perfection of righteousness given to us by our God, Father Yahweh, and demonstrated to us in the example and life and atonement of Messiah Yahweh Shah, we would understand that there's a difference between what is in time and what is outside of time. In this earth where we live right now, time is flying. It's flying quickly. And at first, many years ago, I thought that it was flying quickly because I was getting older. Well, I am getting older. But I remember hearing little kids like 9 and 10 years old say, man, time is flying fast. I heard little kids say that because I remember when I was 9 or 10 years old, I once broke my ankle when I was 9 years old. And the doctor said to me I was going to have to be in a cast for 4 weeks. And I want to tell you something, brethren, that 4 weeks seemed like forever till I was 9 years old. I was like, 4 weeks? I have to be in this cast for 4 weeks? And it seemed like forever. But now, whole years go by quickly. My wife and I were talking about it, how, you're in January when it's the Gregorian calendar New Year, right? And before you know it, it's March and it's time for spring. And then suddenly It's Memorial Day weekend in the United States, 3-day weekend in May. And that's the unofficial start of summer. I say it's the unofficial start because the official start of summer is June 21st. But it's the unofficial start of summer. Many pools open, people start going to beaches, people start traveling, weather is nicer. But then right after that, it seems, in the United States, it's the 4th of July, another 3-day weekend. Now, it's no Independence Day for the Hebrew, but it's a 3-day weekend. And that marks like the middle of the summer. And before you know it, it's September and Labor Day, another 3-day weekend. And then you're into the so-called holiday season. In September, they're already putting stuff out for Halloween and even some Christmas. And before you know it, it's the end of the year. And it's going like that faster and faster. Now, I believe as the Father showed us the delay, and look at the delay again, which we look at all the time. The delay in the Messiah's return in 1844. In Revelation chapter 6, from verse 12 to Revelation chapter 7 and verse 4. So Revelation chapter 6, verse 12 is the sixth seal, and it illustrates the return of the Messiah. Okay, the sixth seal, which we're in now. But it started in 1844. It was supposed to be 1 year. Like he was supposed to be back by 1845. But there was a delay, and the Bible shows us the delay. Watch. Revelation chapter 6. Let's read from verse 12, and let's stop at verse 17 for a minute. Okay? I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? By anybody's standard. This is a description of the return of the Messiah. Anybody that even Christians that halfway read the Bible, this is a description of the return of the Messiah. And you saw it. It said there in verse 12, he opened what? The sixth seal. Okay, he opened the sixth seal. And the question was asked at the end of the narrative we just read, who shall be able to stand? Now, the delay takes place in chapter 7. The word chapter 7 was placed in there by the translators for our convenience, but really it's one narrative. So watch when you look at chapter 7, and let's look at chapter 7, verse 1 and 2. After these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Most High. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. I'm going to stop here before I go to verse 3. But you see, the question was asked, who shall be able to stand in the return of the Messiah and Father Yah? And then he said he saw 4 angels, north, south, east, and west, holding back winds. And then you saw an angel ascending. Ascending means he's going up, not coming down. If he's ascending, he's rising. And he's rising, and he has a seal in his hand. So he's rising with the seal. And as he is rising with the seal, he's yelling something to the 4 angels that were holding the 4 winds. What is he yelling? Verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Most High in their foreheads. So he's going back to the third heaven with a seal in his hand, giving instructions to 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth, saying, wait, don't do it yet. Don't let go until we've sealed Yah's servants. That was the delay. In other words, everything was prepared, but there was one thing missing: the seal of the 144,000. Okay, that was the only thing missing. So the angel is going back to the Father. Remember how this works. Father Yah, the revelation, let's go to Revelation 1:1. Right? I don't have to turn there. I'm going to say it because y'all see me say it enough. The revelation of Messiah Yahushua, Jesus Christ, that Yah gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of Yah and of all the things which he saw. Now, Father sent a message regarding the Messiah to the Messiah. And we know that at least in part, that is his return, which only Father knows, which he will reveal to Messiah. And Messiah sent the message by an angel to John. It's the same thing with all prophecy. So here, the angel that received the message from Messiah received the seal. But he came down to seal the servants, and they weren't prepared for the seal. Therefore, he tells the 4 angel that's holding north, south, east, and west winds of destruction for planet Earth, don't hurt the earth until we've sealed the servants. The servants, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. So now there's a delay in the return of Messiah. Oh, there was. There won't be a second time. The Bible records no second delay. But there was a delay here to emphasize, to highlight, to show that the only missing thing is the sealing of the servants. Okay? And we also know that there's what? A limited amount of time. And here we are. Here we are, almost a full 2,000 years from Messiah. Let's break this down for clarity. If you were to mark the lineage of Adam, who died at age 930, he was 930 years old when he died, and you mark the lineage of the believers, the followers of Yah prior to the flood, which started with Adam and ended with Noah, and you go all the way to the end of Noah's life, who lived to be 950, you would get about 2,000 years. And if you go from the end of Noah's life to Messiah, you would get about 2,000 years. And from Messiah to now is about 2,000 years, which gives you what? 6,000. And the Bible talks about 1,000-year reign. The Bible deals with numbers. And in numbers, the number is 7 in this case, which means what? Perfection, completion. That's the number. You see where we're headed? So that time is about to be over. And that is why it appears to be speeding up, because if what I just said is true, and the Father's only preparing the 144,000, that's the only thing stopping the return of Messiah right now, is Father and Messiah preparing his servants. Means Father's ready to come back. Matter of fact, when you look at what we just read in the 6th seal, it is apparent everything's prepared in the 3rd heaven, except the servants need to be sealed. Now, let's read the same chapter 7. Let's read 3 again, and let's add 4. In fact, let's read from 1 to 4 for the context, okay? And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Most High. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Most High in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So we are now, as we know from our Bible studies, in multiple witnesses, from Moses to Jeremiah to Ezekiel and others, that the awakening of the Hebrews, according to prophecy, has already begun. And the awakening of the Hebrews includes all of the bloodline Hebrews, the children of Jacob, as the Most High has promised. And within those Hebrews, among them is the 144,000 who are to be sealed before the winds of destruction are let loose on the earth. Therefore, time is running out. Time is limited. All the earth, and you'll see when I put the thumbnail up, what you see, a big open jail cell. And that's what we're in. When you're dealing with time, you're limited. I don't care if you're the richest billionaire on the planet. Your time on the earth is limited. You are limited by time. I don't care what kind of spaceship Elon Musk builds and where he intends to go. He is limited by time. And he's not, nobody ever beats Father Time. Ask any boxer, they'll tell you, nobody beats Father Time. Time catches up to everybody. And very soon, it is catching up to the entire planet. Those of us fortunate enough to inherit eternity in Messiah, to Father Yah's glory, we're going to break out. We're going to be broken out of the jail of time. Remember that. Think about that. We're going to be broken out of the jail of time. Time will no longer hold us. We will no longer be subject to aging because of time. Think about that. Meditate on that. That is what Messiah means when he says he will give unto us his spirit, and his spirit is eternal life. It is not subject to time. So no matter what happens on the earth, and brethren, you can see it very well, the abominable things happening on planet Earth. You hear it in news. No matter what they try to cover it up with, or try to redirect your mind with, or try to lie to you about, one thing you see is abominations going on planet Earth every day in literally 1,000 different places. Okay, 1,000 different places. And this abominable acts, these abominable times are limited in time. The Bible says, and again, this is in the description box, the lip of truth is established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. You see, sin is limited by time. It will not last forever. And you and I, as I often say, we've been born into this era. We could have been born in any era Father Yah chose for us to be born into. Right? We could have been born in any era, time that Father chose us to be born into. We were born into this era. to exist at this time, at the end of the concept, at the end of the jailhouse of time. The end of it. And all of us that will be alive in the next few years are going to play a role at the end of the entity of time. The Father already knows what role we will play. And the reason he already knows is because he is, like I said, as the word said, Alpha and Omega. He's the beginning and the end. Thank you, superstar. So gracious of you. I appreciate that. He is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And again, let's just remember what that means. He dwells, he's still there with Adam. And he's in the kingdom ahead of us at the same time. There's no dimensions with the Father. You can't, there's things we don't even understand about time and space that he's way above. He's above all that. And so because of his foreknowledge, being omniscient, all-knowing, that's what the seven spirits before his throne and the seven eyes mean. He's all-seeing and all-knowing. And because of that, he already knows what choices you and I are going to make. We don't know, but he knows. And so my role at this space of time is to let those who under the sound of my voice know to make the proper choice. I have set before thee this day, Moses told our fathers, life and good and death and evil, that we should love Yahweh our Most High with all our heart, with all our soul, and keep his commandments. He said, I have set before you life and death. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. And for those of you who in the future, not too distant future, I have read the Bible, as I said, I'm in my 20th reading right now. And there are some of y'all who have just finished your first, your second reading, and praise the Most High. I'm so happy. I really am that y'all are reading your word like that. And some of you are going to surpass my knowledge. Some of you are. You're going to surpass it in a short period of time. Because Yah is going to use you at the end of time. Father knows who you are. I don't see who you are, but he knows. And so my job is to call those of you who are being called at this time to be used at the end of time. Or should I say, really, to allow Yah to use you, because that's what it is, brethren. It's not me or you deciding we're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's me and you allowing Father to do his will. That's what it comes down to. It's allowing him to do his will using our choice, which is the greatest power he has given us as human beings. Something that no enemy, Satan or nobody else could take from us, is the power that we have been given to choose. Choose you this day who you will serve. Is what Joshua said. Choose you this day who you will serve. And have set before you, Moses said, life and good. Therefore, choose life. Choose life. That's the word of the Father. Choose life. Choose life, that you and your seed may live. Yes, brothers and sisters, there's not that much time left. You know, it's funny. Not funny, but ironic. I walk into the hospital, well, the rehab center where my father was, about a month or so ago when I first went down there to Florida. And again, I almost didn't recognize him. I mean, he just didn't look himself. He had a pale of death upon him. And when I got there, I praised the Most High. In a few days, his face started to look like my father, my dad that I knew, right? And then he started really being himself. And when we got him out of that rehab center and brought him back to his house, he really started, coming back. He just had all kind of beard, and his hair was all wild. And he was making me laugh, because I told him, "You looking like Grizzly Adams, Pop. You got to do something about this." And he insisted on this particular shaver that he uses to shave his head, and the particular shaver that he uses for his beard. And he couldn't find it. And he told me it was this certain brand, and he got it from this certain store. And brethren, I bought him 3 different ones. And the last one I just gave up. I said, "You know what? They don't even make this no more, Pop, because my father is cheap. That one that he had was probably 20 years old, because that's how he is, right?" So I said, "They don't even make that no more. They got a new version of it. And I bought you this one, and it's a good one." And he said to me, "You got the receipt?" Because he was going to bring it back. And so it was in the house that he found his, he found the one he was looking for. It was buried somewhere under some clothes or something, but he found it, and he did his hair, and he looked like a regular human being. He looked like himself. I said, "Oh, you don't look like Grizzly Adams anymore." But I'm looking at him, and he's smiling and laughing, and I'm laughing. And I'm saying to myself, man, I remember, my father's going to be 82 this year. But I remember when he was, 27. I mean, I was conscious of who he was when I was about 3. I think he was about 23 or 24. And now 82, like he can't run like the way he used to. He can't move the way he used to, right? I'm watching him walking his walker, and he's doing good in his walk. But it showed me how fast time goes by. Okay. So now my father's 82. Like I said, I was conscious. I remember him when he was 20, 22 probably. Because I remember before my brother, who was 3 years younger than me, was even born. I remember standing up in the front seat of his car. This is back in the days where they didn't, you didn't wear no seatbelts. I'm standing in the front seat, and he had this convertible, and he was driving me around Hempstead, Long Island. I remember that. I must have been about 2 years old. And now, 80 years later, I mean, well, not for me. It's probably what? I'm 61. 59 years later, here he is. And it seemed like yesterday. And time flew. And now, as we are now in these last stretches, it's going by even faster, brethren. It's going by very quickly, man. And the reason, again, the whole reason that it's doing this is because Father is ready. The Father in heaven, Yah, short for Yahweh, is ready. And only thing now is he is, through Messiah, preparing the 144,000 who are now on the earth, and they're being prepared, the Hebrews being prepared to teach and to give a last message as ambassadors for the Messiah before there's no more time. And for individuals, every day, time is up, right? For individuals, every day, people are dying. And for them, there is no more time. It's over. And while individuals are dying every day, those of us that are alive are speeding toward the end of time. Okay? Praise the Most High. And why do I say praise the Most High? Some people think that's morbid. Oh, you mean you want the world to end? Yes, I do. Because if there's no more time, the Bible teaches us there'll be no more death. Matter of fact, let's take a look at it. Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21. Revelation 21, I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 5. Revelation 21 from 1 to 7. Let's use the perfect number. Revelation 21, which is 3 times 7, from 1 to 7. Revelation 21, 1 through 7. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, Yochanan, or John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yah out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yah is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And Yah himself shall be with them and be their most high. And Yah shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. See? Neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things. I will be his most high, and he shall be my son. There'll be no more time. There'll be no more death, pain, sorrow, things of the past. There'll be no more crime, no more woe of mothers losing their children, no more violence, no more time. Praise the Most High. May the Most High speed this time so that it does indeed go by quickly. May you be ready. May you and your family be ready to stand before the Most High Son and before his throne, to give glory and honor to him, and to stand forever. Shalom. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May Father Yah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, brethren. Thank you again, superstar. Praise the Most High Yah. Amen. Amen.